Hey Road Trotters, thanks for tuning in to another one of our storytelling episodes in our Gawain series.
Gawain, young Gawain.
The Green Knight.
The Green Knight is a giant, because the Green Knight, who is the Green Knight?
Where we unpack the epic poem Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. This is part of a storytelling series according to Rogue Trotter, so be sure to click our playlist for more of those. So stick around. This is going to be a rollicking time. Things are heating up for Gawain. This is a 4-part series, so if you haven't seen our previous installments, be sure to go back to our playlist and catch yourself up.
So let's get into it. I decided to dust off the skis. You know, you got to work with what you got. And boy, what we got today is fantastic. I did just a previous episode, a short one, discussing Gawain's family tree, his lineage, so definitely check out that one because it's important to know where he's at in the family tree of King Arthur, so, and just how he's related to him, so check that out. So where did we leave Gawain? He had just entered the magic castle after his long journey through muck and mire, over hill and dale, fighting with ogres and giants the whole way. And so he's been tested. Now physically, the entering of the magic castle is definitely a switch to the interior Gawain. The allegory is really good there because thus far he's been challenged by outside things, outside monsters. And that he proved more than equal to the task for that. And now he's heading into the interior. And the plot takes a turn into a more psychological realm. So as soon as he enters the castle, the charm of the castle sort of falls over him right away. The master of the house is a giant red-bearded king. The red-bearded king with his huge smile. He's so jolly and he puts Gawain at ease. For the exploits of Gawain precede him. And so he organizes a feast for Gawain. At least a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if not more. And it tasted so good to him to have some real food. And they made him a bed, one of those, beautiful beds with the curtains all around him in this wonderfully decorated room. And they changed his clothes. They put him in silk robes. He has been made very comfortable and he's sort of pampered by this company. And this comfort is sort of working its charm over him. There's music and food and dancing and drinking and gamboling. Another one of these fancy parties. And he's invited to partake in the Christmas feast. But he refuses. He says, "No, I am on a quest and I must find the Green Chapel. I must be away forthwith and I seek my destiny from the Green Knight there." And the red-bearded king says, "The Green Chapel, you're in luck. You're so close, it's merely 2 miles from here." So stay with us and rest, and you can go on the day of your journey and receive what's coming to you. So stay with us, celebrate Christmas. And this Gawain does. And so when he's sitting down to eat at the feast, he's seated between two ladies. One is young, beautiful, and she's the matron of the house. And the other is old, an old hag who eyes him balefully. And he's much puzzled by this one. But he eats and drinks and says nothing. Suddenly the lord of the house, the master, stands up and proposes a toast to King Arthur and Sir Gawain on his quest, wishing him well. Your quest is nearly at an end. But he also challenges Gawain to a Christmas game. And boy, we know how much Gawain loves Christmas games. Can't turn down a challenge like that. I hear Gawain plays a mean cribbage. You got yourself a deal, bucko. The red-bearded king says, the game is this. It's an exchange of winnings. Winnings game. I will go hunting each day for 3 days. And you will stay home at the castle and tend to the court. And what I win each day I will give to you in exchange for what you win in the court. Gawain accepts, not knowing what is in store for him. And as he does, the two ladies give him a sideways glance. And so the castle went themselves to sleep that evening with the exchange of winnings on everyone's minds. Now this may prove too much for the fortitude of our beloved Gawain, but we shall see. Now the castle woke with a start to the sound of bugles and horses whinnying and being saddled up by the groomsmen, and the hounds were baying by the hundred, and everyone was wearing their sportswear, ready for the hunt. And before the sun was up, they were off, creating quite a din in the forest and rousting the game before them. And the whackers were ahead of them, sending them back and forth. And immediately the hounds pick up the trace of a hart, a roe deer, and they chase it down, and the king makes the coup de grace, and they have made their catch for the day. Such a singular din you never heard. And they went out after the game in lusty reprise. And at the same time, Gawain was laying abed, very calm and still. He heard the bugles blaring in the distance. Now Gawain is in his bedchamber, and he is soon to learn what he is meant to exchange for the prey. And forthwith the lady comes in to his room, and she is rizzed out to the max. And now he knows that this will be no game of cribbage. But not knowing what to do, he feigns sleep, thinking that she will leave again. But he has no such luck, for she takes the coverlet from his face and looks down at him and says, My, but do you sleep late for a night?
So the exchange of winnings game, I believe, is meant to complement the exchange of blows game, the hit for hit that Gawain exchanged with the Green Knight. You know, because one is a war game, one is a martial game, the other one is a courtship game. So this is like, you know, right in line with a initiation of a knight. So, you know, we saw how Gawain did at the war game. You know, was it really necessary? Did he really have to separate the head of the Green Knight from his body? Was that genial? The Green Knight also carried a holly bow, as we recall. You know, what was that all about? Was there supposed to be a funner side to his game? Did it have to be so bloody, so grim? Well, now we will see if Gawain has self-control. Because this lady comes in and plies him with all kinds of kind words and seductive sentences and things that Gawain might want to hear as a young man. He's brave and he's good looking. He's so intelligent. He's the best of all knights. He's the most worthy. But here, at the word worthy, he contradicts the lady. He says, no, no, I am the least worthy. And therefore, I must not give in to temptations. And I'm on a quest to my death. So what happens now in the exchange of winnings game is that there's a section of the poem where Gawain is being haunted and the lady of the house is the hunter.
Now Gawain is definitely defying her every advance, being careful not to offend the lady, of course. But he maintains his virtue with a steadfast heart, and he is on a quest. He doesn't forget, despite her overtures.
Gawain, in his duty, has a duty to uphold his chivalry and his manners while not departing from his virtue. So it's a very, very tense moment. It would have been very tense for the listeners of the original poem.
So he says, nope, nope, nope. Not a good idea, lady. And so instead they just cajole and spend the day playing wholesome games, you know, like medieval cribbage and pinochle and then, you know, like lawn darts and leapfrog. Definitely leapfrog has to be in there for sure. That one's especially medieval. And that, whatever that one is called, the gunny sack races, you got to do those too. So yeah, they had a good time. They were, you know, they definitely knew how to maintain the court, of course, and play these nice courtship games. It's tough, but Gawain perseveres in all this. But you know, Gawain is like crafty too. He's like an undefeated pinochle champion back at the round table, you know. So he's not entirely innocent. He's like a bit of a shark, you know.
He's kind of a pinochle shark. And talk about cribbage, you know? When, you know, at the cribbage match, when they see Gawain coming, they're like, watch out. You'll have to excuse the ice beard, right? Because, you know, it's just like a property of physics. When the wind is cold, and it certainly has picked up. Rounding the corner here on the summit road. But Gawain isn't the only one who plays a mean cribbage, and before the day is over, the lady wins from him a single kiss. Now, he probably didn't have an ice beard at the time, because that would have probably cramped his style a little bit. But even if he did, she won it fair and square. And now, before we go all PG-13 on this kiss thing, it's important to put it into a kind of a medieval romance perspective. So let's do that. We must not forget that this is the late medieval ages, and a kiss on the lips is basically what a handshake is now. I think that we have, as a species, reverted to the handshake simply because it's more hygienic. But greetings were perhaps a little more intimate in the medieval ages. So kiss is a common form of greeting between both men and women. But I think that quickly people, like I said, have reverted to other forms of greeting that don't exchange known communicable diseases. It's a theory of mine, but you will find that the exchange of winnings typically involves a kiss. It is a kiss that breaks the enchantment of various spells. You know, it is a kiss that betrays. It's also a kiss that gives hope and courage. So, at any rate, Gawain receives a kiss, and all the while, the roe deer that has been hunted by the red-bearded king is being disemboweled, dismembered, quartered, and torn apart, and the fine organ meats are being flung to the dogs, and there's much yapping and snapping of teeth. You get this, you know, quality, almost cinematic quality of this butchery happening, juxtaposed against this seduction. He's having to uphold his word, and he's having to be sincere all at the same time. And so it's just, he's just tearing him apart, and it's pulling his guts out. This is an allegory for heartache, courtship, and the strong feelings that are exchanged between Gawain and the lady of the house. So the Red King says, "Look, rejoice, look what I have won for you, Gawain, in the field, a hart, a beautiful roe deer, and what have you won in the court?" And Gawain, forthright as he is, exchanges a single kiss for the deer, which they roast up forthwith, and they feast and make merry through the evening and rejoice at their exchange of winnings. And we'll see how each hunt is juxtaposed against Gawain's winnings in the next 2 days. So on day 2, the Red King sallies forth to hunt down his quarry. And again, the din is marvelous, with the braying and the bugle blowing and all the bells jingling as they hunt down, this time, a boar, a huge and bristly boar, one who seems to be undaunted and impenetrable with its thick skin and its bristly hair. And they run him down with their spears, and try as they might, they cannot take him down. His skin is too thick, and he gores the hounds with his tusks. But finally, the red-bearded king, or the Red King, I shall call him henceforth. I like the Red King and the Green Knight. The red-bearded, the contrast of the Red Knight and the Red King and the Green Knight. The Red Knight. So ultimately, the Red King bogs down the boar in a deep, mucky bog, such that the king can draw his sword and hack and hew its hoary head from its body. And he's the champion again of the hunt. As you can imagine, you can't imagine him like not winning, right? That's part of these fairy tales. It's like you kind of get the feeling that the animal's like not gonna win. Now, meantime, in the castle, we have day 2 of the courtship game. Gawain is back in his richly adorned bed, fast asleep. This time he doesn't even wake. Deep in his dreams, he darkly mutters, as a man may that moans, with many grim thoughts, of that day when destiny shall deal him his doom, when he greets his grim host at the green chapel, and must bow to his buffet, baiting all strife. But when he sees her at his side, he summons his wits, breaks from the black dreams, and blithely answers. That lovely lady comes laughing sweet, sinks at his side, and salutes him with a kiss. She lays a kiss on him right away. Again, they cajole, and they joke, and they play games. Other medieval favorites like Toss the Dog, and that whatever that one is called, and she says, just give me one more kiss. And he does, a parting kiss. So this time he's won 2 kisses from the lady. For what else could he do but show her the courtesy of her rank? And when the Red King returns, he says, rejoice, Gawain, look what I have won. And he holds up the boar's head. And Gawain knows that he must exchange the 2 kisses that he received from the lady for the boar's head, which he does forthwith and without shame. And they roast the boar that evening, and they make merry, and they revel once again. Here we are at Grouse Gap. Another one of these beautiful CCC shelters. So where were we? Ah, yes. The 3rd day of the courtship challenge. So the 3rd day is a repeat of all the jingle jangle and all the hullabaloo of the court preparing for the hunt and departing before dawn, and Gawain asleep, and the lady of the house entering his chamber as he was expecting this time. So this time he feels ready. He says he's not worthy of her. He says, it's not you, it's me. When he should be saying, it's not me, it's you. The worthiness card is coming up again and again. He is definitely being tried and plied, and she plies him with all of her tricks and every last one of her charms. I suppose it would only make sense for the 3rd day for the game to be Trivial Pursuit. Actually, Bible trivia. It would be more appropriate. And she tries to give him a ring. She says it's worth a kingdom, and he refuses. Says, no, I'm not worthy of of a ring that's worth a kingdom. And he accepts from her 3 kisses this time. He's sort of expecting this much. And so 3 kisses she gives him. She says, if you won't accept more, please accept my green girdle. And so she has a sash around her waist, which she gives to him, and it's a green sash, and it's tooled with gold. She says this girdle is magic, and whoever wears it will be impervious to any cut from any weapon. They'll be invincible to knife, sword, or maybe even an axe. For example, for the man that possesses this piece of silk, if he bore it upon his body belted about, there is no hand under heaven that could hew him down, for he could not be killed by any craft on earth. And at this, Gawain perks up. And she says, please take it. It will help you on your quest. And Gawain feels a little twinge of shame, but he accepts the girdle. And he puts it around his waist, under his blouse. And she says, it can be our secret. Just between you and me. No one has to know about it. So now, Gawain, knowing that he has to exchange winnings with the red-bearded king, is suddenly unsure of what to do next. Meanwhile, the king and all his retinue are out on a jolly hunt, this time of a fox. A red fox is giving them the chase of their lives, and the horses are sweating. They're nearly running their horses to death after this fox, and the hounds can't catch it, and they're running over hill and over dale far away from the castle. But the fox evades them again and again, and the hounds bark, thief, thief, to him, but the cunning Reynard evades them every time. Finally, the king is tired of this, and he runs down the Reynard, and he trees it in a tree, and he takes aim with his bow, and swift as that arrow flies is the death of that fox as it falls. And there's this skinning scene that is very graphic, because this time Gawain is sort of skinned. He's getting a new skin, a green skin, and an impervious skin. And he skins the fox right then and there and throws the carcass to the hounds. He brings home the skins, but this time he's in a foul mood when he enters the hall. And he says, Gawain, take this. And he throws down the fox's pelt, and he says, nothing but a miserable fox's pelt today. And boy, did he give us a running. And he asks Gawain what he has received in the bedchamber. Gawain says, just 3 kisses. And the lord of the house says, just 3 kisses? Gawain says, yes, 3 kisses only, keeping the girdle a secret. And so he says, huzzah, huzzah. And they feast and carouse and they drink and they make merry. But he goes to sleep that night knowing in the morning he must go to meet his fate, for the next day is New Year's Day. And thus ends the exchange of winnings. Gawain escapes with his virtue from the courtship game, but it's not over yet, for tomorrow is New Year's Day, and Gawain knows that he must away on his quest. So he spends one last evening in comfort. And in the morning, waves goodbye to his companions. He commends them to Christ. And with a heavy heart, this time he clogs out of the hall, slowly, with his head hanging down, knowing that he's going to his death. The giant brings the axe down hard. And he grabs his sword, and he grasps his buckler, and he faces the knight, and he says, "Now back, fiend, you elvish thing!" The Gawain poet is asking, what does the code of conduct require?
Died and was covered with coarse grass and clumps all without, and hollow all within, like some old cave or crevice, and he could not discern aright. "Can this be the chapel green?" "Alack," said the man, "here might the devil himself be seen, saying matins at black midnight."
But the cause was not cunning, or your courtship either, that you loved your own life, the less then to blame.